Hello, everyone. I'm Erica Middleton.
Hi, my name is Cynthia Wheeler, and we are your grad assistants in the Office of the Dean of the Chapel. We are so excited to be back again for this next installment in the Communal Conversations series.
Yes.
Erica, we have a special night tonight, do we not?
We sure do, Cynthia. I'm so excited.
We have a special night. So excited. Okay, this is a special Black History Month edition of Communal Conversations. We are going to be talking about Black service organizations and their legacy. We have a star-studded panel. Okay, these students are amazing. They're intelligent, and they just have the world to offer us. So we're going to go ahead and introduce them so we can start our conversation. And here they are.
Hello, good evening. My name is Russell Edmonds. I'm a graduating senior mechanical engineering major from Northern Virginia, and I'm the immediate past president of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated Alpha Chapter.
Hi, my name is Channing Hill. I'm a sophomore strategic legal and management communications major, sociology minor from Dallas, Texas, and I am the current Howard University NAACP Press and Publicity Chair.
Hi, everyone. My name is Inez Jacobs Hinton. I'm a junior chemistry major, math and French double minor from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I serve as the current vice president of the Howard University Philadelphia Club, and I'm also a member of Chapel Assistants.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cameron Lamb. I am a graduating senior biology major, chem minor from Houston, Texas, and I am the current second vice president of Alpha Chapter Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Bumbella. I'm a senior political science major, sociology minor, Howard University from Denver, Colorado, by way of Nyarugusu, Tanzania, and I serve as a boss of Alpha Chapter Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sydney Montgomery. I am a senior political science and sociology double major, legal communications minor from Chino Hills, California, and I serve as the executive student director for Howard University Alternative Spring Break.
Hello, my name is Koinsola Oye. I'm a junior political science and history major from Columbus, Ohio, by way of Lagos, Nigeria, and I am Spring 20 initiate of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated Alpha Chapter.
Wow, everyone. Look at this panel that we have. We have a full house tonight. We're so excited to talk to you all and see how you all are all doing and what contributions you all have been making in the realm of service. But for now, I ask that you all center your hearts and minds so I can lead us in a word of prayer. God of justice, God of light, we come to you today thanking you for allowing us all to come together tonight under the sound of my voice and talk about service and what it means to serve. I pray that you allow all of these students to share their voices and share all of the things that they have been doing to help our communities, both local, national, and global. We thank you for the leadership of Howard University. We thank you for the leadership of the chapel, and we're so glad that we're able to be here another night. Continue to let us march on until victory is won. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. That just makes me feel good. I just love a good prayer. Okay. Erica, you pointed out a good point tonight. All of these students up here are leaders. Number one. So the first thing I'm going to ask the leaders, I know you guys are exhausted, but how are you? Let's start with Russell.
I guess it starts with senioritis has completely set in. I think it's dangerous once you get the job offer. Like, these classes are pretty meaningless. So I've been really just enjoying this last semester, last kind of go around at Howard.
Okay, absolutely, senioritis. And let's just go around. Channing, you can go next.
Personally, I envy your senioritis. I can't wait to get there. If Zoomitis is a thing, I'm sick of it. But other than that, I think I feel invigorated because the unique moment in time that we're in has given us an opportunity to learn and expand. So I love it. I love that we're here.
So if it's me, then for me, I would say I feel tested. There's been a lot of things going on, my mental, like even my physical, making sure I'm okay. And so I'm blessed and I love the Lord. So thank you.
Cam, yeah.
So just like Russell and Channing have said, senioritis and Zoomitis, just trying to make it through this last semester, but definitely also like Peter said, just trying to keep myself mentally and physically prepped, even though I'm tired and just ready to start the next chapter of my life.
You guys can keep going.
Me. Okay. So I am definitely blessed and super highly favored. I am doing my best, that's all we can do at this point, but I'm also definitely excited. We're kicking off this new semester. We're kind of already like in the midst of everything, but like this new semester is just giving us an opportunity to start over. So I'm excited for that.
I think I'm next. I agree with all the seniors on this panel. If you know me very well, you just know how I'm always moving. I'm always doing something. So I'm excited and sad to kind of close out this undergraduate chapter, but also excited about the new chapter that I'm going to open.
I believe I'm next. Honestly, just taking it day by day. That's honestly what you can do with Zoom University. But I'm thinking about summer, not really thinking about the semester. But I'm thinking about the semester ending and just being able to like go back into like taking care more of myself, especially like with school not in the midst of everything.
Wow, I'm seeing we have a lot of tiredness, some invigoration, some feeling tested, just a whole range of emotions, which is, necessary and needed. Thank you all for your openness to share that. I see we have a comment from Cecil Duffy saying, so good to see so many student leaders. We are proud of your resilience. And that is something that we can definitely echo. We are just so proud of the work that you all have been doing. I did want to ask a question to the seniors. We do have a few seniors on the panel. And my question is kind of, how has your journey of service been at Howard? Since we're talking about service organizations, I know we've all had, a road through these last 4 years, but how have you seen yourself expand, or how have you seen yourself grow as a servant leader at Howard? Let's start with Cam.
Well, so the chapel holds a very special place in my heart because that's where I started service when I first came to Howard, with day of service and then ASB since freshman year. Before I came to Howard, service was already a thing of my life back home. And then when I got to Howard, it literally expanded worldwide once I got to ASB. And then from then on, continued on into the Howard community, DC through Delta, through ASB, through Hudos, different things like that, and different other organizations. And then I'll be continuing on the service past graduation in different ways through military service in the Air Force, and then also hoping to continue mentorship and everything like that I've learned how to do at Howard.
Wow, that's powerful. It seems like Howard has given you just the opportunity to serve in so many different capacities, and that's a beautiful thing to see. How about you, Russell?
Yeah, it's kind of like out of high school, service was just something we had to have a certain number of hours to graduate. So I just kind of knocked it out, didn't think much of it. But really coming to Howard, service is viewed so differently. It's of course pouring into communities, but it's also like through things like ASB and through fraternities, building lifelong relationships with people and memories. It's also just a great way to pour back into the people that would have poured into you growing up. So I've really taken advantage of this opportunity while I've been at Howard to learn and grow through service, pour into communities, but also want to take those lessons with me after I graduate and continue to pour into new communities as I kind of move on from Howard.
Wow, thank you. I love that analogy of pouring into our communities. That's so important that we often do, especially when we get the opportunity to help others. It's a beautiful thing to see. How about you, Sydney? How have you felt yourself pouring in through these last 4 years?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like Cam and like Russell have already previously said, service has always been a lifestyle for me, not just a passion. And so I think because it was instilled in me so young, that I've been able to carry it on through this entire time throughout my journey at Howard. Howard has just now expanded my horizons, both through service, but also how to lead service and how to lead others. So I think that's something that the Office of the Dean of the Chapel has truly blessed me with, that I will take for the rest of my life going forward, in terms of giving back to communities in need.
Excellent. And actually, Sydney, I want to come back to you because I want to connect something. Yeah, I want to connect your leadership. Now, this is your second year really as leader of ASB. And I think that that's something really special. But ASB itself is different. And I know Russell said, Howard sees service differently. So, can you talk to us a little bit about how you've tried to infuse your own sense of service, and mix it with the way that Howard sees service, and how you like combine those things in your leadership?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, our motto, truth and service, Howard University, that's one of its main pillars. And so I think it's just always really important to keep that in mind almost in whatever you do, whether, you're serving somebody who you know or somebody you don't know, whether you think it's big or whether you think it's small. Even if it's just a smile nowadays, I know that, we're still in the pandemic. And so sometimes literally smiling at somebody, can make their day. And so I just think for me, what I've done and what Howard has taught me and what ASB has taught me and what the chapel has taught me, is to be selfless, to know that there's always, another situation that's, worse off than yours, to be grateful, but also to be humble. And then again, to also know that it's not about you. With ASB, that's one of our biggest pillars, what we tell our students before we go out in service. The whole entire week, it's not about you. Take a step back and put yourself in somebody else's shoes to see how they feel.
Absolutely. I love that, being selfless and then really taking yourself, I mean, not taking yourself completely out of the picture, but you know what I'm saying? Taking yourself out of it. So it's not about what can I do? It's about do people need that I actually have the ability to give. I want to slide the same question over to Channing, since you're on the younger side of our Howard students over here. How have you seen the difference in leadership and service growing up versus Howard today?
That's actually a really good question. I think in high school, in junior high, just growing up, service was not something you saw with purpose. It was something you did, but it wasn't necessarily always intentional. And coming to Howard, in the Howard University NAACP, you get connected to the community, you get connected to your classmates, and you start learning, why am I here? You get tested, and from that test, you learn, is this my purpose? What does this mean outside of myself? And I think those questions that you're forced to answer are very important, because you learn who you are. You really get to self reflect. You get to introspective thought becomes a very important component to the service. And once you get past that stage, you do things with more intentionalness. You do things with more purpose. You do things like for a reason. And I think that's very important.
I love that. I love what you both say. What you both said about how you can take yourself out of it, but you still contribute yourself to it, in your own special way. That, I mean, it's a wonderful thing that you all do. I know we have a comment from another one of our wonderful chapel staff, Miss Cynthia Rodwell. You all hold a special place in our hearts. truthfully, you all know you do. Chapel staff loves you. Every single one of us, we adore you, and we are so happy to watch you all grow up. Well, as much as we can.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys invigorate us. I know that word was used before, but the work that you all do in the communities you serve is truly a beautiful and a special place. You will always hold in our hearts. I know something that's sticking out in my mind right now, something that Sydney had said about even just smiling at somebody in this moment can be impactful and necessary. So I'm thinking about, what challenges have you all seen maybe in your communities, or maybe you've seen in trying to serve this semester in this year? Because of course we're in the virtual space. We can't walk to the soup kitchen. We can't, do a whole lot of things that we would usually do. But how have you all seen some barriers or some challenges to serve, and how have you overcome them? We can start with Peter for this question.
So I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna try to be deep. Then I'm gonna go like on the surface level. I think on the deep depth, like on the depth level aspect of it, for me, I've been really like doing a lot of self-reflecting and looking at myself as a person, right? I think the pandemic took me away from people. And so now instead of constantly being around people, it's like I realize a lot of my service comes from me trying to heal myself too. And so I look at a caption, right? I'd write a caption is we want to see Black men be successful. It starts off with I want to see Black men be successful, and then it's we want to see Black men be successful. And so I realize a lot of like service that I do comes from within, and so that barrier is like just like defining self, learning self, and like just seeing how I want to serve. On the surface level, it's also like we're away from people, and so being away from people, like you can't necessarily get 10 Black men to put in $10 to feed 100 people. No, it's everybody is in their own personal space, and so a lot of our service is not virtual. And so on the depth level, it's like there's a battle within self to understand how service looks like, and on the surface level, it's you can't necessarily be around people. Thank you.
Wow, that's a powerful reflection, Peter. I really appreciate that purpose, or that understanding of how it can be a battle sometimes. I've never thought about it that way, but thank you for using that analogy, that tool. I also would like to offer the question to Coin Sola. How have you seen service as a kind of a barrier, and how have you worked to overcome it? Not service itself, but serving our different communities.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think especially with the pandemic, the issue that we see is like, oh, we can't talk to people. And especially being a member of Zeta Phi Beta, I know like we are really we are really a people organization, talking to people, being invested in our community. But the thing that I've learned over time is that community is not only built in person, but you can build it virtually. And that's what we've seen, especially like we've worked with students this semester and talking to them and building that relationship with them and actually getting to know them more within themselves. And I think that's what I really enjoyed about trying to do things virtually, because it makes it more challenging on how you can invest in people and invest in relationships.
I really like that, how you can invest in people, invest in relationships. It's still being done virtually, and I really enjoy that. How about you, Inez? What have you seen in your journey to serve in the virtual space?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So I have been forced to get very creative because we're in this virtual setting and virtual space. We're kind of limited as to, what kind of virtual service we know. So trying to get creative, figure out what we can do that steers away from like the general, donations, the general like tutoring, mentoring thing that you can do online. And also another barrier that I've run into is trying to figure out how I can still build relationships with other people, build relationships with the communities that I'm serving in this virtual setting. It is definitely possible. And just trying to navigate and work through that has definitely been a challenge, but one that is definitely able to be overcome.
Absolutely. I think that's, definitely important. I like how all of you all pointed out that it's important to get creative in this moment. So, what are some creative ways that you've seen um, happen in your community? It doesn't even necessarily have to be with your organization in particular, but what are just some creative ways that you've seen people really connect to your community? And I'm going to start with Cam Lamb on this one.
So this has nothing to do with Howard at all, but I just thought this was really cool. So I've been doing competitive and professional jumping, or I did, for 13 years, from like kindergarten all the way up till I was freshman at Howard. And something that I saw that I thought was amazing was that they were able to host a virtual jump rope workshop. So whenever we do these jump rope workshops, we are always in person because, and I used to staff these all the time, and it's just so much easier to teach somebody how to jump rope because you can hold their hands and help them how to turn the rope, literally turn the rope for them and make them jump make them jump with you. And so that was how we always taught, but they were able to create a very like successful jump rope workshop virtually, had everybody on their own camera, were able to go into breakout rooms and still do all this stuff. So that's something that I thought was very interesting outside of Howard. But like with other organizations that I've seen on campus, they've really taken the lead on using like Zoom and everything like that, and like social media platforms to really send their message out into the public. And so I think that's really creative. They all do it in their own different ways, through videos, through like infographics and things like that. So that's
Awesome. I mean, I'm glad you went outside of Howard, because that's really great to hear. And virtual jump roping, like who would have thought, that you could really get that done. We're gonna ask an audience question very quickly, and you all don't forget to ask questions. You can ask questions, just keep on asking them. We'll pop them up eventually if you're in the audience. We'll ask an audience question, and then we're going to give you guys a little surprise, and we're going to take a little break. Okay, so let's get this question. The question is from Rev Anna 992, and the question is: on the other side of the pandemic, has anyone been inspired to start or partner with a service organization? Does anybody want to take that question? Go ahead, Channing. Yeah.
I'll take that. I'm not necessarily sure what you meant on the other side of the pandemic, but I know recently, and not just recently, Black people have always known that we face two pandemics. We faced it all of our life. It's not just COVID, but the pandemic of racial injustice, racism in itself. In the last few months, I noticed that we this I noticed that it's easy in inner city areas. It's easy in, downtown Dallas and even in DC to say, what, we have this problem here. It was for some of us who live in the suburbs, you're looking at your neighbors across the street who suddenly feel relieved that they don't have that issue there. And it simply wasn't true. In the suburbs, we have school districts that perpetuate the school to prison pipeline. We have officers who pull Black people over in their own neighborhoods, and they think it's okay, and it's not. So in about August, after so much protesting with the NAACP, protesting, with my fellow students, Howard students came out, Dallas Howard students came out. It was beautiful. My friend and I decided to start an organization called the Coalition for Equity Development in our suburbs around Dallas. So we wanted to make sure that our teachers didn't forget that they were disproportionately sending kids to alternative school than they were sending white kids, that they were perpetuating the school to prison pipeline every time they gave somebody a ticket for attendance. So this was an organization that I started to answer the question. I was inspired by the other side of the pandemic. I don't know if that's what y'all meant, but it's been a journey.
Absolutely.
I was going to just speak on what was said thus far as well. And for me, I think what's been really inspiring, working with other organizations, for example, I was able to work with Ohio Women's Alliance, and we were able to register like voters, and also just remind people to go out to vote. And I think that was really essential because being able to do it specifically for college students was important, because we know with the presidential election, a lot of things were getting lost or people were being ignored. And just to have people there to tell you like, oh, you are able to vote, or you can go out and still register, was really important to talk to college students about.
Absolutely. Inez, did you also want to jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Philadelphia specifically right now, we are having a very difficult time with the Philadelphia public school system. And there are educators currently that are protesting going back to schools in unsafe conditions. And I'm also noticing that the students who are already disadvantaged by the lack of funding, the lack of resources, are falling behind amidst this pandemic. So it has really inspired me to get involved with the education system, reaching out to schools in Philadelphia, reaching out to students, reaching out to other educational organizations that are run out of Philadelphia that are already established and well known, so that I can, figure out what's actually needed. But I think that that's something that's very important to me personally because, I'm in college right now. I have a younger brother that's about to graduate in high school, and I have a younger sister who is in elementary school right now. So education is something that is very important to me, and I want to instill the same in them. But I also want to try to level the playing field, just to ensure that students are keeping up, they're not being disadvantaged in any type of way.
That's important. That's so important, Inez, helping to level the playing field and seeing that our students aren't disadvantaged. It's a major thing to do, and I'm glad you're taking up that opportunity and you're taking up that interest.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely starts young. You can't wait until students get all the way up into college to try to grab them. So before we take a break, we said that this is a special edition, and we had a little surprise for you guys. Well, the surprise is that we have an opportunity for you to win a $25 e-gift card to Sankofa Bookstore. Okay, it will come to you via email, but to win it, you have to do something. Erica is going to read you a trivia question. See if you can guess this Black history trailblazer, okay? And then we will give you instructions. We will announce the winner at the end of the program and give you instructions on how to claim your $25 gift card. Okay, so wherever you are, get your keyboards ready because you have to go into the comment section. Once Erica asks this question, we are going on break. So get the question, get your answer, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, everyone. I know you guys are ready and prepared for our Black history question of today. So this question is, this pioneer became known as the Lady General of the Civil Rights Movement for her work as the leader of the Cambridge, Maryland Nonviolent Action Committee. She began her activism as a student on the campus of Howard University, protesting at a segregated Woolworth's lunch counter. As a leader of the Cambridge movement, she championed for various forms of economic justice, yet is best known for her photo of her pushing away a National Guardsman's rifle at a protest. So who is this amazing Howard alumna? Please write in the chat right now, and we will announce it at the end of the program. We're so excited.
HUASB? What's that? Howard University always singing Beyonce? Howard University alumni student body?
No, it's Howard University Alternative Spring Break.
Alternative? What's alternative about a spring break?
It's called Alternative because ASB is a week when Howard University students, staff, and alum go to serve in communities both domestic and abroad instead of going on a typical spring break vacation.
Oh, okay, service. It sounds expensive though.
See, and that's the thing, it's free.
Okay, hold on. I actually think I have heard of ASB, but I definitely want to hear more.
Honestly, most Bison have participated at least once. But if you ask me, the best way to find out more is to just sign up. Applications will be dropping soon, but in the meantime, get ready for the first full episode of the ASB docuseries.
Wait. We're going to be traveling around the world doing service in a pandemic?
Ooh, no, definitely not. That's why I said this year is going to be different than normal. But don't worry, the ASB team has found a way for us to serve safely, even in the middle of a global pandemic.
Wow, I hope you all had time to think of the answer to that question and are all prepared for who won that. We're so excited. We hope you know who that amazing Howard alumna is.
Yes. We're going to tell you at the end of the show, though. So you guys, you can keep guessing because who knows who won yet. Keep guessing in the comments. Also, throw in some questions for these wonderful students because we are going to keep our conversation going. We're actually going to keep the conversation going, and we're going to talk about the video we just saw. Sydney, sorry, we're going to call you back again. Can you tell us what we just watched?
Yes, so what you guys just watched was actually our preview of the Howard University Alternative Spring Break docu-series for the ASB 21 programmatic year. For those of you who are not aware, Howard University Alternative Spring Break is a global known program. So if you don't know, look it up. But essentially ASB, it allows Howard University students to connect with underserved and underrepresented communities, like the video said, both domestically here and internationally abroad. And essentially we are giving up our spring break, instead of going to Miami, instead of going home sometimes, you would give up your spring break to travel to an underrepresented community in need. We do service, we spend the whole entire week doing service, but we also have fun. It's an amazing trip where you get to meet other Howard University students who you probably didn't know. Yes, Toby, the service continues. Unfortunately, last year we were not able to travel due to the pandemic. But this year we are excited to continue our service virtually, as the video did state. So it's a wonderful opportunity. You got to sign up. Applications close this Friday. So if you have not signed up, it literally takes less than 10 minutes to sign up, apply. I say sign up. All you have to do is just go to @HUASB on Instagram or Twitter. And in our bios, there's the link to apply. Just click it, fill it out. And there's that.
Yes, as you heard Sydney say, if you don't know, Google it, okay? We got this, okay? Please, if you all have not signed up for ASB, sign up, okay? Speaking of ASB, who on here has done ASB? Can y'all just raise your hands? Cam, Sydney, Russell. Oh, do we see some? Oh, Inez I kind of did ASB. We know. Look, y'all have time to do ASB here at Howard. There's always time. And if you don't do it in undergrad, come back for graduate school and do it, because I actually haven't gotten a chance to go on ASB yet, but I keep hearing everything, like just so much good about ASB. I've never heard like, oh, this is a bad thing to do. So like somebody else who's been on ASB, tell me about it. Like just tell me about the experience. Yeah, go off.
I'm just going to go ahead and take it away because ASB also holds a very, very large piece of my heart here at Howard. Joined the committee freshman year and have been on it ever since, serving in different capacities. But the beautiful thing about ASB is that, like Sydney mentioned this before, like it's not about you. You give up a lot of your own self-comforts for the community that you're serving. You put yourself out there, do things that you've never done before. I remember me and Sydney we both went to St. Thomas our freshman year, St. Thomas gang. And we were out there building benches. Like, I don't even know how to use power screws. And we were out there using that. And then we were painting houses. And I'm allergic to latex. And I didn't know the paint had latex until we started painting and I got a rash. But, it was all in the name of service. And so you do things. And then the other beautiful side of ASB is that you create family. Like Sydney's one of my best friends here at Howard, like one of my sisters for real, since we've been in this since the start. And even then, we still keep in contact with old St. Thomas gang. And even then you go on and create new bonds with the committee, create bonds with the people that you're serving. I've heard people keep in contact with their mentees that they had from ASB. So it's just a beautiful thing overall. Highly recommended. 100 out of 10.
Yeah, I could jump in too, because I was a team leader my freshman year. Shout out Third Ward Houston. I was a site coordinator my sophomore year at Albany, Georgia, and it is honestly the most amazing experience. You get to it's packed full of service, but it's also packed full of fun. And especially when I was in Albany, it was just such an amazing learning experience. Seeing how people live in Albany and the history of that city and kind of the resilience of the people and just the beauty of the environment. It was just amazing to be in a whole different environment and learning about people and doing it all in the name of service for a good cause. It was just an amazing experience, and it's completely free. So it's you really have nothing to lose but a good time. So I highly recommend ASB.
Absolutely. I love all this community building, oh yes, I love it. Erica, I know you have something that you want to say real quick. I think there's a question in the chat.
Yes, there is. It looks like there's a question. Are you willing to do service in Miami? I am a church looking to partner with an HBCU. I know you can definitely send your information to chapel@howard.edu. But Sydney, have you all done service in Miami before? What's that been like?
I believe it has been in the past, some joint connection, some sort, but we are always open and willing to serve. We are open and flexible. I don't know if you guys remember that motto as well. And so we also serve everywhere. That was another ASB motto. So definitely, yes, of course. Like you said, send it to the chapel's email, but also if you just wanted a regular inquiry, you could also send it to hualternativespringbreak@gmail.com. That's also a good way to connect with us.
That's great. I love that. So now we have the service continuing. The service continues, as you always say. I do have another question I'm hoping to ask you all. So we all go to Howard University right now, and as the question earlier implied, we have a legacy of service here. We have service that is extended from our inception. How do you see yourself in the role of, or how do you see yourself in the line of the amazing legacy of leaders at Howard University? So many people have walked through our campus, and so many people who have made amazing strides. How do you see yourself following that legacy? We can start with Peter.
Honestly, I've been humbled a lot recently. In terms of just we talk about legacy, a lot of ambitions and everything we do aren't necessarily new. And I've been just looking back about just looking at my classmates first of all, right? Then listening to Kamala Harris's commencement speech, then looking at even Kamala Harris's staff, then looking at what the graduating class when I came in was doing to make sure this the whole political system, right, was advocating for people. And so now when I look back at my at the work that I'm doing right now too, it's I'm falling in line, just as the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people before me with the Howard legacy. Everybody's committed to service, and so it's definitely humbling, and it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And so, yeah, I love it.
I'm glad you love it, and I'm glad you see yourself among those hundreds of thousands of people. How about you, Channing?
Well, in terms of the NAACP, the national organization was founded in 1909, right? So we're over 100 years old. Howard University chapter was actually the first collegiate chapter of the NAACP. So, in terms of legacy, that means responsibility to me. That means responsibility to HU NAACP. We have a responsibility to get in line, as Peter said. We have a responsibility not only to serve, but to lead while we do so. Um, that legacy, that responsibility, um, it's almost like, how could we have the audacity not to? My grandparents had to feed their kids in the back of a truck. What audacity do I have not to get in line and continue to step forward and continue to make strides? And that's just my grandparents. That's not including thousands of other ancestors just on Howard University's campus that have come before us. It's 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 simply who we are at that point. It's no choice.
That was so powerful. That was such a poignant reflection. Thank you for that, Channing. Just the responsibility and then the necessity to serve, especially in these times. Um, how about you, Coin Sola? How have you seen this responsibility to serve?
Yeah, just like my peers have said, it's not necessarily a choice, but it's a necessity to serve in these communities because I look at the people before me that have done these amazing things and that have basically led the way for me to get where I am today. And when I reimagine a world for the next generation or the next group of Howard students that are coming in, I reimagine me helping them. And that's why it's so important that we leave that legacy of work and service.
All right, thank you. That's amazing. How about you, Russell? How have you seen this legacy of service or seen your place in that legacy?
Yeah, kind of like what Peter alluded to. It's kind of intimidating when you see someone, alumna like Kamala Harris, all the way as vice president. It's the bar set very high for us coming out of Howard, but I think it's important to kind of remember, with the Howard motto, excellence in truth and service, or even, kind of stay with the Sigma motto, culture for service, service for humanity. Services really should be in everything that I do. That I think we should all do. It should be like close to our heart. And any sort of platform we have throughout our life to enact service, we should definitely take advantage of that. So if you don't have to be vice president to, still serve and pour into the community, but it should be a part of everything and your goals in mind.
Excellent. You guys, I'm always so full after these conversations. I really am, because you all you offer such wisdom. And it's so beautiful to hear you all speak. Truthfully, I know I'm sad because it is 8:44, meaning that we are pretty much running out of time. So just final words. When you all hear Black service organizations, when other people hear Black service organizations, one word, what do you want people to think? What's the one word that you want to come to mind when people have that thought? And we can just go like we did the first time. Everybody just give me one word. You can even popcorn style it if you want to. Yeah, give me your one word.
Okay, I'll start. That's a tough one. I guess I'd have to say prosperity, like, for Black people in general.
Community.
I would say responsibility.
I would say rage.
I'd say selflessness.
I'd say commitment.
I would say resiliency.
And there it is.
Generally, there it is.
There.
We are just so happy. Yeah, I mean, truly, this was an amazing evening. Thank you all for helping us kick off our Black History Month celebration. Another great conversation. I'm just so happy to have you all. So happy to see you all smiling faces. We do have one more thing to do.
And it looks like it's time to announce that winner for our Black History Month question. And if you guessed Howard alumna Gloria Richardson, you would be correct. So congratulations. Congratulations. But our winner for tonight is Toby Mojid Bolugun. So congratulations, Toby, who is a participant in some of our other communal conversations and who has offered so many powerful reflections himself. He's also served with chapel assistants in ASB and Hudos. So we're just so glad for our student leaders knowing this answer. You can actually text Cynthia and I, and we will give you more information about how to get your gift card. So congratulations.
We want to thank you all again for joining us as our audience, for asking questions, for engaging with these wonderful students. We want to thank, of course, these wonderful students who are just brilliant. Thank you to you all and your organizations for sparing you for an evening. We are forever grateful. And we want to thank the chapel staff, especially Dean Richardson, who just supports us in making this program happen. Another special thanks to our producer, Mr. Joseph Dillard, who you all never see, but who literally makes this program run. We would be like just done without them. And then finally, which you'll see afterwards, we actually have a video by Afro Blue, who is a group on campus. We would love to thank them as well for their contribution. They are a phenomenal organization, a phenomenal group, and you'll hear a bit of them right after we get off of here. So, Erica, any last words?
Just thank you all so much for your commitment to serve and making it your mission to serve as Howard University students. We're excited to see the work you all will do after your time at Howard and continue to do while at Howard. So thank you all. And you all have an amazing night. So bye.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won.
Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died.
Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. feet, straight from the places our God where we met thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our name.